Hi, I'm Michael from Moat Monster Gaming, and if you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. So today I'm opening Dungeons & Dragons Adventures issue number 4, and at $8.99 a week, it is not worth it. So I have bought this so you don't have to, but this is the latest issue. It comes with its freebies, in the loosest possible sense, are a very, very cool, very, very nice, oversized 20-sided dice and a little dice bag, which I'm going to use to put the yellow dice from number 2 in. So I'm going to put them in there, but it's irrelevant. It is not worth the money. So $8.99 gets you a grand total of 24 pages. It felt thinner than the previous ones were, and that's not exactly true, which I'll go into now. So the first one was 28 pages, okay? And then the second one, I hadn't noticed, but the second one had dropped to 24 pages. The third one now jumped up to $8.99, 24 pages, and now this one, 24 pages. And 24 pages just isn't enough content to warrant $8.99. You wouldn't pay $8.99 for a 24-page comic down at the comic shop. It just isn't worth it. But here it is. I have it. And I will give a brief overview of what it looks like. Okay, so here it is, issue number 4. And from the contents, we have sage advice, smaller this time, a larger section on character creation. We have a bit on species for dwarves and a starting overview of the cleric. And then we have some lore, more lore this time, and the quest, or should I say the encounter, is good, it's clever, it's enjoyable, but again, it is not worth $8.99. Okay, so here we have a piece on spellcasting times. It's useful to anybody. As I've said on the previous issues, it's written incredibly well. It's very well laid out. I do like what it says and how it says it. It has a nice little piece on areas of effect, which is obviously very, very cool. And then it moves down to avoiding spell effects. And again, throughout, the art is fantastic, which it should be because it's pretty much all lifted from the books. Then we move on. We have a couple of pages on dwarves. Just like the previous delves into species, it has no character building. All it does is talk about the dwarves and a little bit on their history and what they're like. This time I felt like it was nothing new, nothing that we didn't already know. They move on. This time the character that they're spotlighting is the cleric. They again heavily reference the starting characters that they introduced in the first issue, but also talk a lot that if you want to create your own, go on to D&D Beyond. Talks about the different divines without actually going into much detail. They're saving that for a later one, they say in this. Nice little bit on holy symbols, and then starts to talk about clerics and their features. So all very, very well laid out. Very, very easy to digest, but nothing particularly new. The only domain it really talks about is the divine domain here. It talks a bit about cantrips and spells, but I feel like it's not moving the character creation on far enough. Yes, it is a very basic product for people. It is a partwork. It is weekly now, but one I would expect more than 24 pages, and I would expect more rules and statistics and some tables and charts to help you character create. We're still going to end up with, next one's probably going to be fighter, and then they're just going to expand on them more. I still feel like it needs more. Now, the lore pages are very, very good this time. So first of all, we have 2 pages on the Swords Coast, a little bit about Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter and Waterdeep, what they are, a little bit about Under the Yawning Tavern, and then over here a bit on just the Swords Coast more in general, who runs it, who owns it, different areas that are out and about. Again, art's fantastic, but it is just the front covers of a couple of the other books and pieces, a little bit on Underdark, but it is a really good introduction. And I keep saying this the whole way through, the book is exceptionally well written. It's just not worth $8.99. Now, this really surprised me, because it's gone straight into a little piece about vampires, a little tiny bit about Strand, and more about vampires on the second page. So I like this. I like that they're now going to start doing monster lore, and they will no doubt be tying it into each of the quests, which I'll talk about in a second. And then a little bit about the lair of a vampire, and most importantly, which is relevant to the quest/encounter coming up, vampire spawn. So here's a little bit, now I don't know whether I'm going to pronounce this right, the Zentarim, who are a unscrupulous shadow network that seek to expand influence throughout Forgotten Realms, kind of like a criminal empire, if I remember correctly. A little bit about them. It is well laid out, but the reason we get this and the reason we get the vampire piece is because they both then play a part in the encounter. Okay, still, they're not long enough to be quests, just encounters, but actually it's a really good encounter. And it's clever because it doesn't really have any goodies either. It's about a robbery, as you can see from the picture on the little front cover here, and then it goes briefly into the encounter overview. Again, suggests using the pre-generated characters. It doesn't really talk about level advancement in any of these encounters though. And basically they are hired to escort a wagon train, in fact, because there's 3 wagons, to escort a wagon to their destination. Now, using the map that came the other day, so it wants the characters to escort a wagon train from Phandalin all the way up to the high road. And it suggests it's going to take about 24 hours for the characters to make the journey. So they get sent on this quest by the local local person who runs the trading post, and they get offered 200 gold pieces if they can successfully escort the wagon to the high road, where they will meet a larger caravan. And then as they journey to the high road, there's actually some chances for character interaction and a bit of role play. There's 3 wagons, one of them's hauling wine, one of them is transporting an 8-year-old noble child, and the other one is taking a coffin with a vampire in it to its destination. And this is the kind of the crux of the quest. Now, it does give them a chance to entertain this boy, and if they successfully entertain him and do well looking after him, they earn a bonus reward at the end of the quest. I guess it's a chance for both the players to do something that's not fighting in these little encounters, and the DM to flex their skills at pretending to be a small child. A kid wants them to tell him a story, or apparently catch him a fish, or perform a feat of strength, and then it requires various skill rolls to see whether they've successfully entertained them. But wait, no, then they are ambushed. And then the ambush is by a bunch of bandits, but it's nearly nightfall, and then there's the chance that the bandits or the players may disturb the vampire that is being carted about in the coffin. So all in all, they're transporting a monster that they don't know that is evil, and the whole quest is going to revolve around what they then do if and when it awakens. Then we get stat box for commoner, stat block for bandit, and finally stat block for the vampire itself. So the encounter is really good. The dice is nice. The velvet dice bag is nice. It's just not worth $8.99 unless you really want it. And that's where I'm so on the fence with this. I really enjoyed the map that came with the previous one. I like how they're linking in. I'm sure we're going to see all of these places in the later quests. I have a feeling that's going to be the one in the next issue, but what do I know? And I feel happy buying them because they're weekly, but I just feel I'm going to get to the end of it and I'm going to think, oh, I've spent a lot of money on a product that's not got many pages. And that if I don't get buried in an avalanche of dice that seem to always be coming with it. So thank you very much for watching. I don't think I've been too critical of the content that's in it. The content is good. It is just the price. And maybe I'm naive, not having bought a Partwork for like over 20, 30 years, but it just feels like you don't get a lot of value for your money. So thank you very much for watching.